Hey everyone, I'm here with Luke Azevedo, Commissioner, Film, Television, and Creative Industries. Luke, how you doing?
Good, Jeff. How about you?
I can't complain, sir. I keep saying that, so nobody listens. Luke, just wanted to get a bit of a take from you as to kind of where things are kind of sitting with our whole film, television, and creative industries these days.
Well, as you know, at approximately March the 13th to the 15th, everything went into a pause mode or a shutdown mode in film and television, and as well as the traditional cultural arts sector. We started to abide by the requests at that point that were being put out by the provincial government, that then turned into the protocol that we needed to follow. And in our industries, it's gatherings, it's creating an environment where you've got between 100 to 300 people on a film or television set, and everybody touching all of the different pieces. Although film and TV and many of the arts have inherent in their practice safety components that we deal with on a day-to-day basis, COVID certainly turned it up on its head and took it to a new level. So for us, at this particular point in time, what we're doing is ensuring, our organization has a great research and strategy department that breaks down every single day what's happening at the federal level, the provincial level, and the municipal level, both on the support side for businesses and individuals, as well as from the perspective of taking all that information that comes at us every single hour, it seems some days, and is able to break it down so that it's we can put it out there to all of the different groups and ensure that everybody's getting the proper information, and it's information that's valuable to our stakeholders here. So we've been trying to consistently stay on top of what's happening every day. We are participating on national task forces that are discussing the safety aspects of the industry, talking about what it looks like when we start to open up. And that's going to be a big piece for us, is trying to, at this point, support as best we can, stay in touch with both the international community, which is important for our industry, as well as our local community, to ensure that we can support in any way that we possibly can from that perspective as well. Our marketing and communications department has created, a website that is Connecting YYC, which is, it launched in early April, and what it's been doing is it's helping displaced workers find employment during COVID, and it's also helping to connect companies that need employees, so that we have both sides of those going. Because at this point in time, within the creative industries, we still have portions of the sector that traditionally are computer-based or home-based or can work from a distance, that can continue to make it through these areas. Interactive digital media groups, the gaming groups, digital organizations that function at a distance and on the web as a traditional manner in which they do business daily, are still continuing to do business. And some of them are doing very well at this point in time. However, for the majority of our sector, it is how do we ensure that they're supported? How do we ensure that we can make it through to the point where our government starts to open up first of all, our city, which obviously we've been delayed an additional 10 days. And then from there, ensuring that all of the safety protocols are in play, so that when we're ready to go back into, activating the creative industries, that we're in a position where we can do it safely. With the folks that are our neighbors, our friends, our families that are employed in these industries are in a position where they're able to get through the day in a safe and positive manner. We used to be in a position where you'd go to the studios promoting the area, and there would be three questions for you. And those questions would be, what are your incentives? How competitive are they globally? What's your crew base and the quality of them and the depth of your crew? And then what's your infrastructure base? What can we utilize? What do you have for sound stages? What do you have for warehousing facilities? What do you have for equipment? And those were always pretty straightforward questions. Now, the added layer and the first question that happens is, are you a safe area? So from there, you start having those other conversations. So from our perspective, what we're trying to do is to ensure through some of the work that we're doing at the national level, working with other jurisdictions, film commissions, as well as folks like the Canadian Media Producers Association, Telefilm, CMF, Canadian Heritage, and really try to define what it looks like for Canada and how we transition from this pause that we're in back into a safe working environment that's going to allow us to take those 172,000 displaced workers just in film and TV and start generating that work again, so folks can get back onto the sets and into the studios and on locations to start producing. From that perspective, the industries here in Calgary specifically, it's a major impact. We have, our GDP generated from the creative industries in this area is approximately $2.6 billion direct on a yearly basis. And so also affects approximately 25 to 50,000 people, depending on how wide you're talking about the industries, on a daily basis as well. So that's a lot of families and a lot of businesses impacted. And so for us, we want to make sure as we transition back that we're positioned well from a marketing and communications perspective, that the world knows that we're ready to accept them, that the world knows that we're back into engaging in our arts and creative industry sectors, and that it is a safe place to be, to showcase Calgary and to showcase Southern Alberta in the manner that we've been doing over the years, but now add that one extra layer of that you can be here and be comfortable, that we're taking care of taking care of you as much as we possibly can.
So, and I mean, I love the way everything you guys are doing, and I think that's what it's going to take to get it back on track. Do you see there being maybe some pent up demand for production? Because I'm assuming that we've got all these films and television programs and everything that have just been shut down for travel reasons and safety and everything. But is there a sense that there might be, like, once the borders open up and we can assure that everybody can be safe, is there going to be a pent up demand?
Well, Jeff, it's ironic, isn't it? Is the thing that is getting a lot of people through this time is the content that they're consuming. And the creation of content, for all intents and purposes, is shut down right now. If you look back at what started to happen when we first got engaged here, and those videos and those pictures that you saw coming out of Italy, for example, people playing instruments and singing for people on balconies, and that in itself shows how much of an impact the creative industries has on us on a daily basis. So from the film and television perspective, everything is streaming. The traditional broadcasters and the traditional cable folks all have streaming services now. So what that means is that as a consumer, as an audience, we are consuming that content faster than ever. You're sitting down for a weekend prior to this occurring. You were sitting down for a weekend, and you could actually watch a 13-part series in 2 days and get through it. So what's happened now is that the content that was available is being exhausted. And the anxiety that will happen when they get back into production is twofold. First of all, trying to finish off or complete what was already in progress so that they have new content for the subscriber base and to ensure that they maintain their audience. And then secondly, building for the next situation, right? So I would anticipate that our streamers and the production community itself will be making product for now and for the future. So should anything of this nature occur, or any type of shutdown, that they would be in a position where they would have content to go. One of the things that comes into play here is, the levels that we need to go through before we're ready to start producing. And so we talk at a Canadian level. The immigration, how do we get people across borders to ensure that it's a safe process? Talent is going to be core. What happens on sets? Medical staff that's going to have to be able to do testing, and all of these things that come into play. Then from there, you come down to the provincial level. What happens at that level? Ensuring that all those protocols are adhered to and that we have the proper situation in place. Then you come to the municipal level. Then we start talking about our unions, guilds, and associations who are responsible for the people that are on all those sets. Then you start talking about the studios that will have the baseline that they want to see happen before they come into a jurisdiction. And then each individual studio will have their own layers of protocol that we have to adhere to. So from the outside looking in, it's a pretty daunting process to go through. And I think this is with every business, not just in the city, but everywhere, is that everybody's looking now is when we open, how do we make it so that it's safe and effective and we can continue to go rather than having to take a step back. So our anticipation is that we will see a difference in how production activates. We will see safety protocol being first and foremost on every production as it occurs. And then from there, looking at how we're able to produce as much as we possibly can, because these organizations now are going to look for more hubs where they can come into a jurisdiction and say, okay, we're going to make 2 or 3 here rather than 1. And then what that also does is it gives us some opportunities that we have to pay some very close attention to in the post-production, VFX, all of those things, AR, VR, all of those areas that are now directly linked and will be more linked because there could be a greater need to be able to do things that are not live on set. And so looking at how we support the organizations like yourselves and Jump and Joe Media and all of the different groups out there, Bamboo, that are doing this type of work in the city and create an environment where these potentially the studios and the streamers now are here for a longer period of time. They don't just come to shoot. They know that based on the technology and the talent that we have in Alberta, that we can continue to do that project for a longer period of time, which helps us as a sector grow that portion that we haven't been able to take it to the next level in how we've wanted to over the years. So the opportunities are there for us. And, we're working at a variety of levels on the advocacy component of it to ensure that Alberta continues to be and grows our competitive nature globally, so that as decisions are being made by streamers and broadcasters as to where they're going to go, we keep coming forward as top of mind, and that they see us as safe. They see us as a place that can produce some of the best product in the world. They see the quality of the people here, and they feel good about where they are. Because in previous to this, the big consideration is that if you've got talent and executives that are coming into a jurisdiction for 8 to 9 to 10 months, depending on the project, and potentially multi-year, that they want to be someplace where they can at least enjoy themselves and it's good for their family, they can do all these. Now it's that, which we've been working very diligently to ensure that people know that we're a metropolitan city with some great, the lifestyle here is amazing and all the opportunities here. Now that there's another layer on that. Is how do we convince them that they're not only going to have those opportunities, but there's going to be a safety aspect to it. And so what we'll see happen is that increase in production, which could, likely double. We're going to see a production level now probably higher than we have ever in the history of film and television. It's just the amount of work in a 2 to 3 month pause that doesn't get done. How do you catch up and then create the new product that you need to be able to continue to have your subscriber base be comfortable with what you're putting on the screen?
Well, you know what, and so true. There's only so many reruns of Laverne and Shirley you can watch before you start to a little batty. So
you're dating us with that one, okay? So there's a lot of people that'll be watching this going, Laverne and Shirley, yeah, okay.
So do you see that then? And do you see there being more demand? Do you see there being a change in the types of content? Like there's things like Quibi and whatnot that are out there. Do you think that it's going to change our habits from a viewing standpoint?
I think it already has. I mean, how much time is everybody spending on their phones and on their devices watching, 30-second, 1-minute pieces for entertainment value? So I think it has done that. What it also has done is it's increased the knowledge of the consumer base. So you're watching so much content that people start to analyze the quality of the content, the quality of the talent. All of those things start to come into play. So we're going to have a much more knowledgeable consumer base when we come out of this than we did when we went in. And so I think that's going to be important. I also think that, the amount of content that needs to be consumed also has to be equaled out to the quality of that content. So we're going to have a situation where the anxiety of getting more product out there is one thing, but the quality of that product that's going to lead you long-term commitments from a consumer perspective also needs to come into play. So we know that there is a lot of great content out there. There's a lot of great scripts that haven't been done yet at the Canadian level, at the Alberta level, and then at the international level. So what I'm really hoping is that we have an opportunity here to allow our local talent to also be recognized and showcase their content and their abilities globally in a more significant way than we've been able to in the past. And we've had record years. We had a great start to this year. It was wintertime and we had multiple projects going. The film center was full. Everything was going along. And then the transition happened. So what we need to be able to do is to be ready. So when all this content starts to get done, all of our people are ready to go and create. And again, it's all about how we're seen globally. It's all about the relationships that we created and have been able to maintain through this time, both at a local level and an international level. And then how do we leverage that to ensure that our producers and our production companies and our talent here have the ability to come back strong and potentially stronger than what we were.
So really, I mean, it's a matter of, it's going to come back. It's just a matter of when and how. And right now, even though it sucks, we need to start preparing ourselves as a Alberta, Calgary industry so that we can take a bigger piece of the pie when it comes back.
Absolutely. And I think that's the core piece. I think, we did a webinar and spoke with the Economic Development Group of Alberta across the province. And one of the comments that was made at the end of the conversation was that they were so pleased to be talking about a sector that potentially brings opportunity to their areas rather than us consistently having conversations around what isn't working or what's happened to organizations and to businesses and other things, which is so tragic globally and here where we're concentrating in our province. So, for us, we want to be in a position where there's a potential to help other sectors. I mean, we can look at the skill sets that come out of oil and gas, that come out of construction, that come out of a lot of different areas that are necessary in film and television. And some of these people, those skill sets are at a very high level. So the transition coming into film and TV is, a shorter distance from where they are to where they can activate on set. So I think we have an opportunity with some of our underemployed sectors to help grow our crew base so that as we're bringing on more work, and as you know, it's sort of a three-legged stool. It's first of all, it's the incentives, ensuring that our work with government and our partnership with government creates an environment that we're competitive. Secondly, it's growing that crew base in an appropriate manner. And thirdly, it's our infrastructure, ensuring that as we're growing the content creation side, that the infrastructure and all those other pieces are in play so that we're able to have a long-term sustainable growth rather than, being in a position where you're lacking one of those pieces and not being able to do the work at the world-class level that we are now for whatever reason. So we want to ensure that we are seen as an industry that is an economic driver, that is a job creator, and that has the capacity to train, retrain, and to pivot folks into an industry that has a long-term capacity of growing at exponential rates, depending on how we support it in this province.
Because is there not a risk that with a slowdown like this, we may have people getting out and moving on and doing other things?
Absolutely, but I think that's in every sector. I think where we have a bit of a benefit across, film and television and digital media is that these are opportunity areas for us in Alberta. Although we've been doing a lot of great work for a lot of years, there is an opportunity now to move to that next level and to put us in a position where we have a growth potential, if we can get aligned with all of the things that we need to be there. And so I think that our sector is one that people are looking at as, how do I get involved in it? Rather than one where people are looking to get away from it, because they know that this will come back. They know content creation, is there. The distribution component is there. So there's opportunities for us. And, we welcome people with open arms in this industry to get involved and to help us grow that base and to be able to do more projects at any given time and to continue to develop the industries to the point where we grow as that economic driver, and not just a blip on the radar, we have an impact. So that's the kind of things that we're trying to do and attract people into the sector.
Perfect. Luke, I mean, great insight. Just in closing, what would you say to everybody in the film, television, creative industries these days? I mean, what are their words of encouragement, or what are you telling people?
We're coming back, and we're coming back strong. We are doing things right here. Alberta has had some of the highest testing levels on the planet. We know where we're at. We know that we're coming back around in a strategically and safe wise. We're coming back around in the appropriate manner. We know that there's going to be a lot of work out there. We're doing the advocacy work with the government, creating an environment where these partnerships that are necessary to be there and to be able to grow this industry. So although we've gone through a very trying time, and we continue to in Alberta beyond COVID, this is an opportunity sector, and we need to see it as such, and we need to support, and we want people to stay in the province and be able to do the work that they trained and went to school for, and to support their families, and to continue to work in Alberta and grow this sector with us. So that's what we're saying right now. We want people to get involved. We want people to keep our eyes on the ball and know that this is going to come around, and this is actually going to be an industry that we can be proud of, and with the amount of growth that we're going to see.
Luke, I appreciate you taking the time and for everything you're doing for the industry, and stay well, stay safe, stay healthy, and hopefully we'll be able to get together sometime soon here and have a beer and chat about this.
Absolutely. Jeff, thanks very much for doing this. This is, second time around. I'm waiting for the time where I can do an interview with you where it's not a major cause and effect thing, where we can actually just talk about the way things are going well. So,
well, you know what, I took a look at some of the videos from 2015 that we did, and it was similar but different. So absolutely. Next time we do this, let's make sure it's on the up and up. So.
All right. Well, thank you very much for having me.
Thanks, Luke. Take care.
You as well. Bye-bye.